on the map screen on the top right side of the circle. They're in a long-range fight and still not in the zone.
Yeah, and now my question is, where's Andretta's trio? They were the ones that were always literally by game 6, they conditioned that entire northeast part of the map. There was nowhere you're going to go. They had the north houses as well, all to themselves. Lame's trio literally was nomads. They went all the way down south to Cape Cod by game 6 and got pushed by Elixir's trio there. So they're making adjustments. The same thing with Malibuca. Malibuca went all the way down to Cape Cod as well. They did not like it. They had a fight, and Alex came in and cleaned them all up. So all these adjustments are going to have some, like Shayo said, tsunami-type effects here on the leaderboard. Already mentioned, the #1 spot went down. That's just so huge, Shayo.
Yeah, and the reason I use Tsunami as well is because once it starts, it doesn't stop, and it's always moving forward. It looks like Shizo God is also kind of like a tsunami, the way he's pushing Lame's box. Almost stopping. They have a little bit of a pinch scenario going down right now as well. That's when one person's on one side, the other two are trying to bite from the back as well. Lame can't actually edit out anywhere or find a break. This is troublesome. This is just the first game, and it's already this difficult.
It feels like these trios are connected to the hip. They have so many battles throughout all the type part of the map, and this is the first time they're fighting here. It's unbelievable to see these two trios who are getting up, scrappy up the leaderboard, fight here. Considering last time they fought, they're at Cape Cod.
Yeah, I mean, right now, though, Lame's doing a very good turtle impression, but the shell cracks. Udas finds a way in, shoots him down, and now I think it's a 1v3. Robnit with just 50 HP. Not sure if it's going to be possible. He runs into the storm. He gets sent back to the lobby. Shizo God, flawless eliminations right there. Actually, no, I think they lost one team member, but they'll find a reboot van and they'll be right back in the game.
This is what we're talking about. Day 2 here of the FNCS. Man, so many people want this. Last season, we saw some major adjustments. Thomas HD and Flick and Anas, Mongo Mitro and Taysom were literally running away with everything. They were putting up some big time point performance. And Thomas HD and Flick and Anas said, that's enough. We're going to go ahead and land Stark Industries. And they basically vaulted themselves. They had a big pop-off performance that kicked them up into the day. With the damage output like Thomas HG, who leads day 1 with 19 elims, that kind of firepower landing at that power position last season was a huge thing. So that's why you're seeing teams make these kind of major adjustments, because a big pop-off performance can essentially net you thousands of dollars, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Absolutely. And remember these 4 letters as well, because he's been against Thomas HD, EGRM, or Egram, like we like to call him right here. He's going to be going for a quick fight over at the desert. Not inside zone just yet. Mawaka is going to be the last one alive here from Light and Mr. J. These guys all land on the top left side of the map, so they're all finally clashing. Their roadways intersecting here as they try to make it towards the zone. I have one teammate picked up just shortly. The ball is in Mawaka's field. The issue is this game is not fair for him. This is not just a net with 2 teams on either side. It's just 1 man versus basically 3, and you can't win that fight.
No, that's why you're seeing a sanding opportunity here. Maybe the tunnel up, but Kibo says not so fast, my friend. Going ahead and dig right into the sand and find himself an opportunity to convert some siphon and, more importantly, 2 points. Igram's trio is turning around their fate here, and with another nice, successful wipe right there as we have some battles. But, man, Mr. J's trio, who started off the day 1 with 0 points and ended the day with 0 points, looks like so far that momentum has carried over into day 2. But they've been really consistent other than that, finishing in the top 10. No doubt they have it in them to be consistent, but Shayo, this is literally a new slate of play. The meta has changed here in day 2.
Yeah, and I'm like that you mentioned that, right? You're talking about last season's FNCS in general. Now there's no more power in the POIs. As we mentioned yesterday, the power is in the players, the strategies they have. Harpoon, box dive, invasions. That's what Awares is trying for. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. What did we see before? We left Lazy Link with 2 teams. Look at the mini-map now. We've got the entire Fortnite community sharing 3 buildings.
And Levin must have some telepathic abilities, because he said that people will be fighting for center. So no longer people are perched on the edge trying to look for storm surge tags. They're using their mechanics up in business. Look at that. So many trios in Lazy Lake dead center. Now we're going to see who's going to rotate to the 3rd zone here to center and set that up. Expect Pablo's trio, expect Trulik's trio, but I do expect many, many more, because when they do in heat, they were successful. Like CRR found a lot of success going center early.
It also kind of looks like 2 different gravity fields happening on the map. One pulling everyone into Lazy Lake, and if you remember that map image, another one pushing everyone to the outside portions of the circle. You don't want to use extra mats to move in. Materials so important to play the end game. You need them for defense and offense. And now we talked about Storm Surge. That purple lightning is striking anyone who's playing too passive and hasn't done damage right now. You have to be careful and stay above the threshold. Benji Fishy's team is 195 damage above. That's a very comfortable space. Still, they'll have to hunt for more tags. You can see it dropping down all the way down to 165 already.
And now you're seeing that they were able to get some Storm Surge with Amplify having an elim here. Now you're seeing the points there, that little 2 gold point. That is for the day. We will have a cumulative leaderboards going forward.
Absolutely. So they already got one full elimination on Amplify's side. This is over first because we saw Seti, Kemi, and Teak go down. They're only about 4 points behind, now just 2 with that elimination as well. So Benji might be able to take the lead off this game. Just have to be careful because today so far what we've seen, Sancho, right, or just in yesterday, Benji going down, sometimes Amplify going down. They have to be careful.
I asked what was going on with Andretta Trio, and look at their loadout. Something must have happened at their drop where they had to retreat and back away. They do not have power. They do not have Surge. They're in shambles, and down goes Andretta. And Refsguard is still feeling that pain of Storm Surge. And I just feel like this trio has always been wounded in day one, and their rotations have not had the amount of bandwidth that they needed to breathe. Because what ends up happening is these kind of beeline rotations get interrupted by these high-level trios who are making dead side rotations like Hen's trio and things of that sort have sorely disrupted Andretta's run. It's just, if you go back to the VOD reviews, they always have a dangerous neighbor on their rotation, sometimes Thomas HD.
Yeah, they're flipping their POIs back and forth as well. It just gets really awkward to have a sound footing when playing the game. Still, though, I'm just watching out for Amplify, Matzo, and Benji. Train H and NRG, the combination. They're basically going to take first in just a few moments. One more elim, and they can do it.
And why they've been so successful is because so many teams are fighting for height, and Trulix's trio with Stompy and Pink have been pushing people down with RPGs. And that game plan for Train H, Matzo, Amplify, and Benji Fishy is basically let them come down to us and we will clean them up. And that is what they're being so successful in, is every time a team gets down there, they're in shambles, and they've been rotated in. Like Reese mentioned in game 2, the height team was Trulix's team. They had no way to pressure down below, and that was just the perfect scenario, the perfect storm scenario for Amplify's plan there. He basically was able to wipe out a lot of people down below.
And while these guys are kind of in a hurricane surrounded by other teams inside the top 20, other teams looking to be more aggressive, they'll be the eye in the center, trying to play a little bit more passively, trying to not have that much action. On the outside, we just got the perspective of Hen, Chapix, and Janice. They're going to be rotating in just a little moment, but everyone else has the same journey to make. They have a max zone pull, and they're all side by side. They'll be clashing, like rotating tops in a little dome back and forth as they make their way towards the zone.
It's so fascinating to see. Everyone was talking about I getting max pulls and max pulls. Well, because everyone's fighting style is the same. Everyone's comfortable fighting on edge, going for Storm Surge tags on the backside of Storm for late rotations. Now, because of these Storms are kind of pushing so far to the coastline or to the center, you're having a lot of people on that line. And then everybody's, because they're not moving towards center, of course you're going to get max rotational pulls. And it's going to be so dangerous. The 5th zone, things of that sort, are always going to be so dangerous because you're always on the edge. We all know center priority will get you those short rotations. And man, Refsguard is going to have to clutch up here as a solo.
It looks so sad. He's so lonely. Where's his team? They got to focus on Surge next game, man. I don't like seeing my man by himself so alone. He'll figure it out. Props though to stay alive till that point. No shield.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he can make it through. If you see the numbers on the top left of your screen, 58 players alive, 22 trios still left in the lobby. Once that number of trios hits 17, that's where those big placement points start getting handed out as well. Right now, Benji, Amplify, Matzo in the best position in this entire base right now. They're from the bottom side, just beaming up, clawing up towards these upper boxes, trying to drop down anyone, get more elims and more loot.
Now we're seeing the teams. We've seen Chapix go down the Thomas HD trio. You're seeing that team, Hen and Thomas HD, they're together. They're that neighbor rotation sitting right there. They know exactly that the dead side's valuable, so that's why they're on the north side having this battle. And anyone that invested in the center down in Retail Row, hey, you got to come on back, brother, and come on down to this congested area in Zone 5. It's the half in and half out, half in the safe zone, half in the storm side, and so many people are already dead center here. And Revsguard, holding on as much as possible, just falls right before the placements were almost being doled out. Tough ride right there, but this is what I'm talking about. Janice, Hen, and Chapix. Now Chapix is back to his feet here. 2 elims so far for Hen. Now they're going to have to make this rotation, but I'm thinking because so many people are already there box fighting, they're not going to have an opportunity to hit Janice and Hen and Chapix. This is going to be a very decent rotation, long as someone doesn't turn and hit them, as they do take some tags here.
Always going to be a box watching. You can never assume things get to happen for free, but it's fun to believe. They finally get in, though. This is pretty much for free. It was just one big pot that basically allowed them to make this rotation. But I'm not talking about rotation. I'm talking about overtaking the whole server. Look at Thomas HD. I think he just ate a snipe, but it doesn't matter. These guys have position. And Sancho, when we see this team up top, do they ever drop down?
No, the only time they drop down is the Trulix's RPG comes in. Sometimes you see someone retake height near that 8th zone, but these are the kind of players that know how to execute really well. Now, they're in danger there. As you see, Blackie is a little bit higher. Now, what's going to happen is the zone pulls towards a Nos. You're going to expect Blackie to basically kind of leapfrog right on top of them. One bouncer, boom, and they have height. So it's up to Nas, Flick, and Thomas HD to essentially beam Blackie's trio out of the air if that happens here at the first moving zone.
My bad for calling that early. Was sitting slightly very low in my chair, so I didn't get to look too high for Blackie's trio. They even look way so much for this. Who gets it though? No one gets it. Everyone has to move.
Okay, everyone has to move, so that bouncer play, that leapfrog is not an option, but they still bouncer essentially all the way to the front of the zone if they want it. But expect that team who is at height right now, Blackie's trio, who's above Noah's, is to basically wait just a little bit longer for someone else to establish a point. Then they'll go and kind of cap right on top of them. But it looks like Erican's going to elect to, he's going to stretch that out a little bit. He's going to stretch that tarp a little bit to give him a little bit more airspace, so to speak, to go over.
Oh my, Naslik and Thomas, they'll get into a fight as the zone starts to move. That's one of the top 5 trios in trouble right now.
Vidil's
there. Blackie, they roll in. Vidil, no O'Reilly are following right behind. They can jump right on top. A mid-air RPG. Okay. No O'Reilly, you're too dynamic. He doesn't actually get too much off of it, but now that high ground team knows what they have in store. They're still going to push forward straight towards the top. You and Blackie and DKS still hold it down. Another RPG comes in, does not drop them. No O'Reilly with a big bouncer, but he gets beamed low on HP. Vidil falls all the way down as well, and now Noah's left in a 1v3.
Man, the battle for height is going to leave both of these competitors wounded. Noah with the RPG now down to 1 HP. Can he hold on? And I think he's going to go for like a last second RPG play. No mats. He does get some breather release reasons right there. Oh no, he goes down. So now it's up to Vidil and Reason to carry the torch, but there's no RPG at play at height, Shio.
Yeah, so they got height at a big cost. Janice and Hen as well. Lose Chapix, but this is not bad. This is according to plan. Almost every game, we see this trio operating as just a duo. It's any one of the 2 players, they just end up popping off. I'm not sure why. They have these weights basically attached to their legs to slow them down, but I guess their kicks hit harder. Let's see what they got all the way in the middle of these boxes.
It's basically 2 solo superstars, essentially. They could be apart. They don't need to be together, but they will get necessary, crucial buckets when they need it most.
And there is more duos still alive in the lobby following suit. It's Reason and Vidil up top, Flick, and I believe Thomas down below as well, who are lost with, a Nos not being alive. We'll see how these guys can hold it out against trios all around the server as well. Flecking's trio all alive looking for shots right now. Malibuka's there too. Benji's fishing in the same box as a Nos. He's trying to play a little bit of defense. Amplify went down. Flick and a Nos right beside each other. They're looking for the shots real quick. A Nos low HP on the bottom right of your screen. Another player right in front of him, that's Snazy. He can't touch the storm at all. It's gonna take him out. He finds a way to stay low, but it's not possible. He gets deleted.
And now it's up to Vidil and Reason here. They're going to have the opportunity to close out this match with the victory royale and a huge elim point here, but they have to do it as a duo. Look at down below. Hen, this is perfect opportunity for Hen to pop off. Can Flick pop off? No, he gets popped instead. Goes down to Snazy, who is a solo hit himself. So that's going to be a big score for Analyx's trio. If Snazy could stay on his feet, these are the opportunities that you could rack up those points you got no business to. We got Kiko's trio in full force down below. Snazy is on the mid ground fighting for his life, trying to hold on as much as possible. Now he has no choice here but being wood builds, and if someone sees him and they get him right down, gets bopped. Hen has an opportunity now to kind of hold on, but I think Reason sees him, and Reason's gonna push down below.
Janice went down too, so one of the biggest threats not available. It's basically almost a full game of solo for Hen, but a full trio alive down below. So 3v2 v1.
Don't count Hen out. He can make a miracle happen here in this game.
Still 10 elims though for the high ground
Miracle
trio.
gone.
High ground 2, the miracle. It's absolutely stopped in his path. Kiko takes a big shot straight to the face. They still have control of low ground. One of the best places to be inside the 9th zone in an end game. Reason and Vidil might have to just drop down into that box. Kiko going for the med kit play. He's trying to go for a mini heal off, so he has enough HP to go for the fight here. Reason and Vidil up top can't actually puncture any builds down below. It's all brick and metal. They'll have this impasse still here for the final seconds.
This will be whoever wins this will be the second victory out here in these finals.
Okay, we'll see exactly what ends up dropping down here in just a second. Still kind of a stalemate between both sides. The dual Reason trying to just puncture these boxes more with shots, with a little bit of piece control, but it's not possible. Reason drops down from the right side, gets Kiko. He gets traded. I think it's a 1v2 now. No, it might just be a 1v1 Slender versus Vidil. Okay, let's see what we got. Big bouncer, big shot, 100, followed by more. Vidil is insane, and he doesn't lose those.
Holy, 13 elims in the big time tracking to get that big shot. Wow, that is what the kind of finish that they have, and they were able to do it with that crazy RPG play, bouncing right over, sneaking up behind Blackie's trio. That's what I'm talking about. That's the action I want here in the finals in day 2, Child.
5 letters, 1 word, style for Vidil. Woo! That was just absolutely sick from the trio. I don't even think we were watching trios that game. That felt like duos and solos the whole way through.
It did, man. There was so much chaos, so much action. And hey, we could only keep up with what we can. We are going to need the help of the analysts to break it down more. Let's kick it to Zeke.
Yo, Vidil with the massive 100 off the enemy trying to launch pad up, or rather bouncer up, bro. We were just losing our minds, dude. What an incredible start here on the second day of finals. You know you have 6 games ahead of you. You know you're wanting to come out in first. And what better way than to drop 13 eliminations and a VR in game number 1?
Incredible. And you know, one of the things that I think we kind of missed a little bit there was when Resin dropped down behind them at the end, he actually managed to pick up 2 of them, not just 1. Yeah. He managed to pick up 2 of them, making it that 1v1 situation at the end. And man, we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday when we were looking at the other victory royale that this team had. Aim, mechanics. Like, these guys are winning in those 1v1 situations, and it's clearly proving here today.
Yeah, these guys are phenomenal, right? One of my favorite things about what was so effective for these guys that game, you know, nobody goes down. They're playing as a duo, and, you know, they have so much ammo available. One of my pet peeves as an analyst is when I watch a team, they have, you know, 400 shots available, and they're not taking them. You know, you can't save your ammo for next game. You know, you've got to use it in the game you're playing. And these guys had relentless pressure, right? You know, some of the trios down below would have had no idea that it was a duo above them, right? Because these guys were constantly spraying, applying pressure, and it ends up leading to that victory royale. Great stuff. Also, congrats to my Portuguese Magnificos, man. Slender in them, great stuff. Yeah. They picked up a victory royale yesterday. They pick up a victory royale to start off, or not a victory royale, they get second to start off today. So good stuff from those guys as well.
Yeah, and you don't even need the VR necessarily, right? Obviously, picking up that additional 5 points that separates first and second is going to kind of give you a little bit of a buffer. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much action, and it's so interesting to kind of come into the first day, because you can tell a lot of these trios are thinking like, okay, we can't make a mistake. If we do anything wrong here, it's going to cost us a lot. And we see a lot of these teams, even halfway through Reese, we're kind of watching it back, be like, dude, this is so congested. There's so many trios that are just not wanting to move.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happens, unfortunately, when you have these far side zones. And looking at some of how these top teams coming into the day kind of took part of that. We saw Cammy's team, Day and Peak, actually be the first trio to go out in the first game, unfortunately. And this is what's happened. Teams are adapting, and we saw kind of at this point, Cammy split, very, very split, as the name suggests. These guys aren't landing close together, and teams are capitalizing. We saw
yesterday they had another similar start where they had a really good first game and things sort of tailed off towards the back end. So can they sort of sustain this level of performance over the course of the next 5 games? If they can, then I'm sure they're going to push way higher than 9th, but it's all about being able to put that into motion. Keycoat, Slender and Marsh, that victory pushes them way back up. They were nowhere near the top 10 when you looked on the leaderboard. Now they are, right? So just one victory, not even victory, I keep saying a victory, they didn't win the game. Just one second place alone, is enough to push you so far up the standings there.
I think you were trying to project onto them. Hopefully these guys are going to pick up that victory royale. They got it yesterday. Their games yesterday were interesting because they were actually battling back and forth between Andalex, Snazy, and X Squeeze. We see Kiko's team landing in Retail Row, and then we see also Andalex's team landing down in Kai Corner. So they're kind of opposing Storm Surge strategies, right? They need to fight against each other. But in that game, they ended up actually not. So both performing very, very well. And you said in that game, you said they were similar to the first day tomorrow. They started first in the first game yesterday, and fourth in the first game yesterday, and fourth today as well.
Anything goes right now, Fortnite fam. With 5 games left, who will be our new FNCS Trios champion? We're getting closer to find out. But for now, we're aboard the battle bus once again and back into the action. It's Shy Wager, it's Sancho West. Over to you guys.
Who will be our Trios FNCS champion might be the hardest question to answer because the variables are changing each and every game.
And how chaotic those variables were changed. I mentioned that yesterday, that this kind of formula, it's all set. Everyone had it, but literally the entire formula has changed. We're no longer edge fighting here on Storms. We're no longer hanging out trying to get simple Storm tags from a distance. We are getting in the nitty gritty. We are getting right up in people's grills and trying to get them out of this competition with some aggressive play. Just seeing advisors on that how aggressive people are. And for the first time in a long time, Shio, we may have a zone being up north. And that's going to be spelling some great news for Hen's trio, who's been always making these crazy south migrations, right? Finally, they get one in their backyard. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to walk away with the victory royale. And one thing to point out, though, is we saw that Hen and Janice were going in there basically in that final movings as basically as duos, right? And what did we say? They will find a way to get some good placement out of that and get some elims. And they ended up in 3rd place, Hen getting all the way to that point. And that's what's been working so well for them. And if you try to do that formula or somebody else, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't work. But Hen, they end up making it work so well.
This is like the one math class that I love because I can actually understand it and follow it through, right? Just expecting good players to play great. I feel like I'm actually at home and now I'm learning. Still, though, for Matzo, Amplify, Benji, that last game, huge for them to take over at first at one of the best positions. They were beaming down below. They get knocked down 1 tier to 3rd now. They're still kind of in that running. It's just 5 points of a difference. But you have to remember, Sancho, right? When these teams have an opportunity to steal a game over, when they have an opportunity to be the guys controlling the lobby, and they miss it, that hurts because that opportunity doesn't come every single time.
Speaking of opportunities, looks like Lame's trio and Malibuka's trio have decided to see their luck at Steamy Stacks, and I think Andretta has decided to, like, hey, I'm out of here. Now we're going to take a look at the overall scope of things and seeing if there's any other kind of engagements happening. And that middle zone, that is Michael's trio, and they have been doing so well throughout this entire day one. Their success has been led to a lot of smart rotations and taking advantage of those crystals.
Absolutely. Those crystals letting you just jump back and forth. The 0-point crystals, of course, have so much more flexibility. That overhead map shot was just really cool too. You're noticing that a lot of trios are splitting more and getting more, being a little bit greedy off their POIs.
Oh yeah, this is huge.
It makes it look like a beautiful painting, though. It's nice. We get art inside Fortnite amongst all the action.
Yeah, Matzo is never really that far off the coast. He's usually Amplify is the one that's that far. Amplify literally sits on the edge and he just fishes. That's how far as he goes. Because you have Paco's team kind of landing in that logjam, but we all been knowing that Paco has been going all the way to center as fast as possible. Those kind of teams that play for center, they're usually there 5 to 6 minutes. It's the teams like Benji's teams and teams like Hen's teams and Vidil's teams. I would say they'd be in their POI for 8 minutes, but it looks like all calm is chill on this POI. For the first time, there is a moment of peace.
No, this is not peace. Have you ever been on like a customer support call before, Sancho?
All the time.
You get angrier the more you have to hold. I guarantee those trios are just, just steaming inside Steamy Stacks, waiting for the fight to break down, pumping up their loadouts. Past that, though, these guys got their call answered. They're at the help desk. Artox, Pizza, and Ardent might not even need a helping hand here. They're looking pretty good in this fight. Ooh. Never mind, reverse that situation. Never mind, double reverse that situation. We're now looking at them just taking apart Vior piece by piece. And in a matter of, 7 seconds, that fight is over.
Vior has still haven't found a home in this map. They've been looking all over the place. And Artox, Pizza, and Ardent have coming from Misty Meadows. So they saw someone in the water that they weren't recognized hanging out in their POI and they decided to push them. You're seeing more aggression. You're seeing more people taking up close and personal. It's just such a different type of style. Now, Julix and Charentos, they were landing out there in the Colossal Coliseum in day one. They moved to Pleasant Park at the end of the day. They found some success. There was multiple trios here, but right now they basically pushed out Advisor's trio. And Advisor's trio, like they mentioned, went all the way down towards the harass the Cammy split.
Yeah, this is kind of like, one of those reality TV shows, Life Swap, right? So it's cool to see how these guys are playing in each other's POI
swap, right?
Yeah, POI swap. It's just so different because these guys just leave so early. Julix and company, they just go straight over to a different POI fast. Meanwhile, when we saw Cubics yesterday, he spent a long time there enjoying the home, cooking some food in the kitchen. You'll notice 2 cars. These guys are gone. Maybe upkeeping metal. Nope, they're skipping that. Toronto's taking snipes at the passenger side. They're looking for more across the map.
And we see Savage just that mini map. Savage is going to his Storm Stats tags part right there, his Storm Search tags part. Savage has talked about, he knows exactly where to go. That little mountain that they just passed, that's where Savage is. It's good to see Savage here. What's been hurting Savage's trio is essentially is always somebody in his spots there for Storm Surge. So far, clean right now, looking good. He needs to make some movement here. I think this is his opportunity for that trio to make some movement on the board. Because look at the leaderboard already, Chayo. First place was Vidil's trio, 171 points. Second place, Hen's trio. Third place is Amplify, 162 points. Seti, Kemi, Teak, who got 0 points game one, just slid down to fourth. Not too bad there with 147 points. And Flickanos and Thomas HG right on the heels, 141.
I got to message the back end and see if we can support these many points being dropped down by the first place team. We're almost at 200, and including this game, we have 5 more to go. So, I'm not even sure what records are about to be broken inside this FNCS if Vidil, Noah, Riley, and Reason get, maybe just 2 more games to do what they do.
There's nothing like a wild card. The wild card just causes so much chaos, and Knifer's trio has been so chaotic throughout the entire day and the tournament total. So far now, they're in another spot. They're in the contesting Steamy Stacks. These guys have been all over. Maybe they just want screen time. You know what I mean? They want to see some broadcast stage light. And that's a great way to go, is just to go to a different place because the camera's there.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys are just hunting for the fight. It's nice to be dynamic and stay on that north side. You got to remember this game also might be different because this is a very different type of zone. Usually, if it was the south, you see the mountains, or we're in the dry desert. Now we're in the lush forests and what is it? Coves of craggy cliffs, maybe. It'll be more calm. It'll be more calm. But as soon as we tune in with trios like these, Chapix, Janice, Hen, Andretta, Scram, Refsguard, they get a little bit more scrappy. They like taking shots fast and then moving away.
Now we have a zone that is in their backyard. Janice, Hen, and Chapix, they have opportunities where they kind of push up to the north side. They love to get the scavenger route team. So that's why they're making their way towards those houses. We don't know if anyone's there because right now, Knifer are most likely rotated down into Steamy Stacks from that area. So if Hen, they get an idea where this trio is, they most likely will push down to here to see what they can do. Because right now, this is that dead side rotation. And Hen, Chapix, and Janice, they love to make those kind of rotations because it works really well for their playstyle. And like I mentioned, day one, all those trios that do dead side rotations, play for height, like the Analyx and the Hens trios, they were just always not getting that fifth zone, or when they did, an RPG will come in and stop them, or someone would really be aggressive for height, like Trulex's trio. So that's what's going to be going for in this day two. Like, what kind of height takes, retakes, or height plays are we going to see? And also, for the bottom of the board, what kind of adjustments they're making in real time. And I'm thinking you're right, Shayo. They want to be aggressive to kind of close the gap with some 2-point elims.
Might be the wave. Could also just be having a good time. It's fun to run around in the grass, right? Like, we've been seeing everyone just held up in boxes. Maybe want to stretch your legs a little bit. Mayhem definitely doing that all the way up in the air. Teams on the other side. Yeah, now everyone's in box mode. You see it happen every game. This is Snap's trio. Snap, obviously, Snasty on your screen right now. Well, top 10 finishes on day one. Impressive, but at the same time, it's day two, baby. Day one, sometimes the patterns might not be the same.
It's not. It's completely different. Even the gameplay is different. It's unbelievable.
So, very good record overall. Swag down right now. That's Swab. I understand we get to cast and translate at the same time. Players like to get creative.
It's a different language we have to work with. It's completely new.
The dictionary does not exist for this language either, so you have to trust us on the calls. Munis and Robnik. Harry first game. Now they're actually in the business inside the circle, so things are looking good. Still now, might be a little bit more of a sandpaper vibe in the desert. Everyone's stopping, not getting to push over the greener pastures. Unfortunate, but that means they'll have a chance for damage back and forth.
Now we're taking a look at zone 2. In the middle of that zone, on that same mountain where I just pointed out, Savage's trio is there. Now they're all together there. They have great vantage points looking for Storm Surge tags all over the place. But now you see Thomas HD and a Nas and Flick here coming down from Dirty Docks, seeing all the people, all the action out there in Steamy Stacks here. And this is why it's so dangerous if you kind of just go all in a outer POI fight. Someone's going to rotate and they're going to find you. So this is going to be a huge opportunity to start this match 2 here for Flick and Nas and Thomas to get some much needed Storm Surge tags. 118 is nice, but I know if they get a lot more than that, they're going to make very passive rotations going forward and have the opportunity to play for height.
Might have to get some water for Flick as well. I think this man might be dehydrated waiting all the way over for that late game. Look at the loadout. It's fully close range. It's fully meant for those box dives and rotations and fights towards that end game circle. But if we're looking at patterns, one of these guys is going to go down. It'll be a duo game, possibly. And that'll be trouble if it is Flick, because that golden loadout looks amazing. Trader, Wishy-Washy, and Rax. First time looking in at big FNCS finals performances. They've had some of the most creative fights we've seen so far. Some really good ways to rotate around as well. Their damage threshold looks really good too. Yep, Scram and Chapix ended up fighting as well. And we can obviously see which way that fight went.
It's just simple, man. It's like I mentioned, all great minds think alike. All these players, they kind of rotate the same way. There's valuable rotations. There's efficient rotations. They know exactly where every piece of rock, where every piece of tree is that they could farm, refarm, 0 crystals. And what ends up happening was when you find those valuable, easy, like chill rotations, you're going to find someone else there. It's just the way of the world. That just ends up what's happening here in the Fortnite island.
It's funny that they're even called 0-point crystals, because every time I see a team use them, they get way more than 0 points. Like these guys, they pushing hard. Past that though, no crystals to eat here. So maybe these guys get left at 0 points, picking a bad fight. There goes Leo down. Right next, the Shizo God. Mayhem comes through to meet him through. They got so many floppers. They took out the heal man of the squad. Chug splashes, floppers, gas canisters, heals. This is huge.
It's almost if Leo was a character and he just held on to all the floppers and he was trying to sell some, but they didn't have any kind of goal, and then they took Leo out. Four floppers total. 3 of them are going to be kind of distributed there. Now we're seeing the zone revealed, and you're seeing, look at this. There are some kind of teams right at Savage's door right there in Belief. Now you're seeing as well. That's Henge. I believe that someone's at center. I wonder who is center on that tree. That's a very valuable mountain spot here, because we all know when in-games get there, it's pretty much it's going to revolve around that little big mound there. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's not Badil's trio there that's fighting right there, and Stompy goes down. So that means once again, Noah Riley, the deal, Reason is going to hold on to that RPG. And we saw it last time. It was a key to their success with Noah Riley going in and full sending it to height to help his team hold on to that. And at the end of the day, get a victory royale.
Absolutely. Sometimes you don't even need that RPG all the way towards the end. Leo down, ZQ and CRR are going to be the ones affected so far.
Oh, no.
Taking a look at it. Oh, no. Big snipe over. If the deal's knocked down, it's not even the snipes. It's Storm Surge coming in. This guy's not going to find anyone to do damage from. Kinzel, I guess, wasn't there this time or didn't want to fight. That's a team all the way near the top that won't be there to stop anyone else.
That's wild, man. Usually Storm Surge for that team is all about pushing people that are on the scavenger route. Egram was the kind of guy that did it. Every time they made those rotations on dead side, they usually unlock that. And Reason's still holding on. He's just doing all that he can. He's going into his heals. He has to survive 3 people here. 3 people have to go down, or if he can hit the snipe of his life here, it could happen. Can Reason hold on? He's going to have his eyes set on the tree on the left. This is going to be a huge opportunity. Does he hit it? No, he doesn't hit it. That's what he needed. He's going to fall shortly. And there he goes, down to Storm Surge. And that's the #1 team eliminated.
173 points. Is basically the lock now. If anyone can jump up past that, it would basically mean that they're in first for the competition. A second chance now for Benji Fishy, Matzo, and Amplify. Another big wave for Janice, Chapix, and Hen to push themselves forward. They're the second place team currently. And for everyone else around, like the Siptos, Kinzel, CRR, Leo, who got rebooted, it's a chance to catch up, not having one of the biggest point hogs alive in the match anymore. CRR finds a pocket of destiny to get these frags and shots in. Not going to be possible for him to connect for any more, though. One flopper here, the whole trio alive behind him, but I don't think this is going to be the best lane to follow. This is a trap that Kinzel's setting. He can turn around really quick and find more beams.
It's usually CRR trio is on the other side. This is not where they like to be. This is not where they like to fight, but you're just trying to get into these box fights out there, and it is kind of messing up their game plan that they're used to. Now you're seeing the lines are not set at the storm line. They're really going all the way out to POIs, and that's what Kinzel's trio did. They literally went all the way up to Craggy Cliffs to kind of third party into some fights here, and when they're able to do that, CRR definitely suffered, but there's still a team on the bridge. I also saw on the feed trial Savage's trio taking out Pablo's trio, because we all know Pablo loves center, and Savage's trio was already sitting there, and they had a box fight, and Savage was able to kind of take out one of those members. We'll take a look if Pablo's trio is one of them still around here shortly.
This is the worst spot for Benji Fishing Matzo.
Oh no,
every single
Benji.
time, every game. Scooped up from the dirt by a shovel of shots from high ground. And now there's no way that these guys can dig back their chances at staying in this game. No shields, no reboot men in sight. Matzo and Amplify have to operate as a duo. I know they're powerful, but they're so much stronger with Benji at the helm. Moshi's also just pushing right by towards the box. This man has taken out some of the most high-profile teams towards the top spot. In game 1, it was Seti, Kemi, and Teak. In game 2, it's Benji Fishy. These guys are basically bounty hunters running around the map.
It is up to Amplify and Matzo to kind of have that same performance that they had in day 1, game 1. Were they able to get a top finish without Benji? That duo is still strong. We all know that Matzo could make some sound rotations. Now we're taking a look at the rest of the fields here. Let's see who's still up. ZQ and CRR find some way to survive that stormhold, and now literally without any heals, down to 1 headshot from any kind of weapon basically, and they're out.
It's not survive, it's just delay. That's the operating word. How far
delay
can they get before they're taken
I'm
out?
optimistic. I'm optimistic. I think they could pull a miracle.
Man. Like, look at the HP. I'm not in this game, Sancho. I think I have more HP than these guys in total.
Here we go. CRR, we know.
right now. Yo, yeah, let's get it. I love you. I love you forever. Not that you love me. No, Wait, are you the Galaxy skin? Are you the Galaxy skin?